If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
In this episode of Mind Pump.
Oh my God, it's so fast.
For the first 37 minutes, I had to go fast because Adam has to pee.
Yeah.
We do our introductory conversation. We talk about the Christmas blend of Organifi drinks. Who
created that?
Organifi Red, Organifi Green. You mix them together. You've got all kinds of adaptogenic herbs in there.
It's like a gift in your mouth.
Energized. They taste good. And like Justin said, it's a present inside your whole mouth.
Yeah, thanks, elves.
If you go to Organifi.com/Mind Pump, you'll get 20% off. Then we do a little Halloween recap. We talk about our trick-or-treating games and fun and Adam's costume, which is crazy. I can't believe you dressed up like that.
You are a scandalous.
That's right. Then we talked about Skinny Dips, new flavors. They got some new flavors coming out. The pumpkin spice one that's out, and a new one.
We speculated
that we don't know. We don't know.
Probably
what the
wrong.
We're totally wrong.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be delicious.
Don't forget to announce the winner who just won the giveaway.
Oh, it's on Instagram at GBPratt12. You win some free Skinny Dipped. Make sure you DM
at GBPratt12
the Mind Pump Media Instagram page. And Skinny Dipped almonds are one of our sponsors. If you go to skinnydipped.com/Mind Pump and enter the code Mind Pump, you'll get 20% off. Then I bring up a study that showed that antibiotics plus probiotics may be the key to killing antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
We just saved the apocalypse.
This is good news. And then we give out our recommendations for voting. Everybody else is telling you to go out and vote.
We're saying stay home.
We're telling you to not fucking vote. Stay home and we don't want your vote. Then we get into the questions.
Little counter message there.
The first question was, what kind of effect does the time of day you train have on your strength? Is there an optimal time to work out for best results? The next question was, what's the last thing we recall promoting on the podcast that we have now changed our minds on? We actually brought up 4 of them. One of them was saunas. We used to think they were a waste of time, but now we realize, because of the studies, that sauna use is incredibly beneficial for everything, including health, fat loss, and muscle building. One of the best saunas you can get is from Sunlighten. We were actually working with them for a while. If you go to sunlighten.com, and if you mention Mind Pump, you'll get free shipping. The next question was, what was the best $100 we ever spent on something that was health or fitness related? We actually give you some great advice on how you can make a very small investment and get a phenomenal fitness and health return.
Stretch that dollar.
And the final question, Justin pulled this one out. He wants to know what our hall pass was. Who's our hall pass?
Terrible question here.
Just
you guys were pussies.
Trying to get us kicked out of the house. Also, I do want to mention this month, Maps Anywhere is 50% off. By the way, it's been redone. Brand new videos, brand new blueprints. If you already have Maps Anywhere, check your library. It's already in there. For everyone else, to celebrate the re-release of Maps Anywhere, which is the equipment-free Maps program. This is the program you can follow at home. You can follow on the road. You basically don't need any equipment except for maybe some resistance bands, and the results are phenomenal. Even if you're advanced, this workout can really kick your butt. 50% off. Go to mapswhite.com. Use the code WHITE50, WHITE, and the number 50 without a space for 50% off.
T-shirt time!
It's T-shirt time.
Oh, my favorite time of the day.
Tizzle shizzle.
All right, we got a bunch of reviews over at iTunes and over at Facebook. So let's start with iTunes. We have Alaskan Alex, JD Workhorse, Xbox Beast, and over at Facebook we have
that guy's a virgin.
Yeah.
Jasmine Jorgen Bates.
What are you talking about? He slays.
Tracy Freeman, Gilberto Onet, Jamie, or it might be Jaime, Nick Letizio. All of you are winners. Send the name I just read to iTunes at mindpumpmedia.com. Send your shirt size, your shipping address, and we'll get that right out to you.
Dude, we're going to run out of shirts, Doug. Yesterday, I made my first Christmas blend Organifi drink of the season.
Oh, your first
It's
one?
a little early.
You're one of those assholes. You start playing Christmas music like before Thanksgiving.
Christmas lights are
I
already
did
up.
play Christmas
Oh,
music.
you son of a
You play
bitch.
Christmas music
I
already?
I didn't put up lights.
My wife gets so angry at people like that.
Yeah, I don't like the
I
decorations.
thought there was a rule, right? It has to be the day after Thanksgiving is the earliest
That's
you can.
what the
I
rule.
don't know that
there's
there's
no
any rules anymore,
Yeah,
yeah.
we break the rules.
Yeah.
No, you know what it was? We were cleaning the house with the kids, and I like to put music on when everybody's cleaning the house because it kind of makes it fun. I'm trying to make a good experience for the kids because I just told them, help me clean or I'm gonna lock you in your room for a couple years. So they were helping us.
Motivation.
And I wanted a little energy, and so I blended the green juice with the red juice, which is the green and red Christmas blend. And it's a nice little mild stimulant effect because of the red juice. The red juice gives you a little
extra
bit.
jolly.
At breakfast yesterday with Paul, you went down the adaptogen rabbit hole with him.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about adaptogenic herbs. We talked about it when we interviewed him.
Did we get on that? I know we did it at breakfast. I wasn't sure if we talked about it on the show or
Yeah,
not.
adaptogenics are an
think we
interesting class of compounds. The reason why they're called adaptogenics is they help the body achieve balance. And I
Homeostasis.
hate saying that because it sounds so
Yeah.
woo woo.
It explains it when you guys
foofy.
when you guys talk about it, and it's in its relation. And Paul talked about its relation to cortisol. I find that's probably why it makes me feel so good. I would guess that.
Yeah, because the green juice has some ashwagandha in it and a few other things. The red juice has rhodiola in it, both of which are probably the most potent adaptogenics according to the literature, the published literature. Now, if you talk to Chinese medicine doctor, you might get a different answer, although ashwagandha is pretty widely valued. Yeah. But those are both really effective adaptogens, and rhodiola in particular has a mild stimulant effect on some people, so they'll take it and then they'll go work out. That's why it's in the red juice, because the red juice has that, and then the beet powder, which is boosts your
Plus, I
nitric
like
oxide.
the Christmas blend better because, to be honest, like the red out of all of them, I think I'll take it sometimes out of performance, but it's not my favorite.
Oh, I
You don't
like it.
The red
You
is
like
the
it?
best.
Yeah,
I
I
think
like
it's the
it.
best tasting.
One thing about Organifi, like they fucking nailed it out the park with the.
They
taste.
made a green juice taste good,
Yeah,
which
no.
is
Gold
impossible.
is the best, in my opinion.
Gold doesn't even make sense. That's like when you taste the green juice, I'm surprised at how
like
good it
gold
tastes
dust.
for being green. You know, I'm surprised. Like, oh, this is not bad.
Right, it's that minty aftertaste.
The gold tastes like what I took was something that's supposed to taste good, not like a supplement. You know, that's good for you.
No,
that
it's
they're-
become like a staple thing. That Katrina is like a heavy tea drinker, and when she drinks tea at breakfast, lunch, dinner, it's like her thing, right? So she loves teas, and then at night, that's like a pretty regular thing that she'll have like a chamomile tea or horny goat weed or whatever.
Who has horny goat weed?
Hey.
Katrina,
She's been taking the horny goat weed.
yeah, she loves that stuff.
Does she
Take it
really?
for
Yeah,
you
yeah.
or what?
Do you know what's good for women? I think it's good for hormone balance.
Yeah, she likes
I gotta
it.
get Courtney
She
on
loves
that.
it.
Is she taking it every day?
No, it's not like it's like we always have tea is always in our house, and she's always drinking tea. Like I'm not like monitoring which one. Which
It might
one's-
make her hornier too, which might not be
yeah,
good for
no,
you.
That's just all I need, right? But it's all right. It's a good problem to have. You know, I'd rather have that problem than the other side.
start
I've had the
that
other
in her
side before.
coffee.
Nothing's worse than that.
The other side sucks.
Yeah, Justin knows all about
That's
that.
oh,
Pew, 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 pew.
low.
You know that like sound when you like lose the game in a video game, like choo, 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 choo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just because he's the married guy, we got to make fun of him about that.
Yeah. No, dude, we've been putting in the work, man. I'm proud. I'm proud.
Hey,
of
man, when
the
you have-
effort.
Team Andrews.
Yeah, Team Andrews.
When you
We're
have-
good. We're good.
The comeback,
Bro, when you have two little kids, you both work and your schedules don't match.
It's
I'm
a little more
surprised.
tricky.
I'm surprised you guys have sex at all. Like that's a tough situation.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, we just we make all the attention to do, at the end of the night, and then we're like sleeping on the couch, and I'm just like, even me and her both are just like, let's just try again tomorrow. Yeah, this is not going to work out. It's just like, we just have this understanding.
You had some shit to tell me about your weekend. I don't know what it was, but we were talking, and then we got interrupted.
Yeah, I had kind of a. I mean, I was able to hang out with my friends like pretty much the whole weekend, which was kind of nice. My parents took my kids overnight and had them kind of stay over and go to a car show and all that stuff. So I hung out, and we went to a brewery that was celebrating the Day of the Dead, and it was so much fun, dude. It was like
Dia de las
it
Muertas.
was a Mexican punk rock band, and they were playing like they had like a stand up bass, and they were playing all this like
So
cool
were they
music.
singing in Spanish?
Yeah. but it was like
It wasn't like
no, it wasn't that. It wasn't like the polka with it, but it was like punk rock. Anyway, it was awesome. And then after that, we went and did karaoke, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now, like that's like an outlet for me. Yeah, like I do that on the show sometimes, but like I just really, I let my hair down that night. It was awesome.
I'm disappointed in both you and I, Adam, especially you because you've known him for so long. Why haven't we taken him to a karaoke?
You guys don't understand.
I want to take him to one of those Asian ones up the street.
What do they do there?
Yeah, I know Doug knows all about this. They on the east. He seemed not his head.
He's
right
more
away.
into the massage.
On the
ones,
east side, when I used to live over there, San Jose, they're everywhere. And like seriously, on a weeknight at like 7:00, they start, and you can fucking hear them like 4 blocks away. They get the fuck down, dude.
Yeah.
So it's a karaoke.
I've heard.
All it is a karaoke bar.
Yeah. Doug, is there a name for them? Is it
Karaoke bar, I guess.
Well, okay, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never actually been to one here in the U.S.
Oh man, we should go. I'll take you guys.
we have
I want to
to
go with
man.
I want to go
Eastside
with
San
Justin.
Jose has all.
Oh, it was so much fun. Like I got into it and I sang a song and then after that we were kind of sitting near another group of people and they like pulled me up to sing in their group and then like it became this competitive thing with like me and this other guy and I don't know.
You were the best one, right?
I mean I don't want to be biased, but my group thought so. So
That's what it is. He's like super cool, All my fans.
entourage.
He's all serious about it. Yeah, he's hella serious about it.
You know who the serious ones are?
Brings his own mic.
Yeah.
Dude, no, hold on, I got this. Let me.
Can we tell Taylor to organize this? You know how much great media we would get out of a karaoke bar?
We could set
I
up.
wanted to have like a tournament
the
or
green
something.
screen.
Yeah.
You want to do karaoke in here?
Bro, we could throw it up on this TV right here. We could throw Justin on a green screen. Doug could video it and put him somewhere like.
We all have to get drunk though. It's not
Oh,
going to
yeah,
happen
we-
without getting drunk.
Yeah.
I'll
We'll
help.
take
Doug.
our
I'll
activated
help Doug
charcoal,
with
dude. We'll be all right.
The monitors. I'm
Yeah.
not getting up there and singing.
Dude, that would be a blast. That'd
Anyway,
be so
I had
fun.
so much fun, dude. We have to do that.
I also saw pictures of you, with Justin, with your, was it the treehouse in the back?
Oh yeah, so Sunday I made an effort. So I have to do this in spurts where
It looks a little sketchy, dude.
it is right now. Yeah, I'm not having any kids and neighbor kids over. Like you're not welcome. You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm taking my sweet ass time. I'm like I have to do this project right. And I was talking to you, Sal, a little bit about this because it's like there's this hustle and there's this like for me I have this internal drive to get shit done. And I realized right away like my kids really want to be a part of the process of it. And so it's like it totally slows the like everything, like all the production of it's like goes way down. But like
Because they're helping you?
yeah, but I'm like, you know what? That's what it is. Like I have to include them and so I've just come to peace as far as like I've had other family members over and they give me shit about it and like, oh yeah, that's how it was a couple months ago. And I'm like, ugh. Like I get a little pissed about it. But
That's why you glare over at your kids. Look at my contractors. Talk to them.
yeah, exactly. The foreman's slowing me down. So but I mean we're having a great time. Like I bought all the supplies and I'm like sawing everything up and getting it all ready to put up and then by the time I'm ready to put up it's dark.
You're such a good dad, dude.
fuck
I
it.
would be the
I'm
total
done.
opposite. Like the kid, we'd be working on it one weekend. I'd be so frustrated. The next weekend, I would like
done.
I would call in someone like, listen, come build this shit on Saturday when I take my kids out
I
to the
think
beach.
about that every day.
And then we'd come back. Oh shit, kids, look, it's
Whoa.
built.
The treehouse fairy.
Santa Claus is real.
You know what though? On the real, your kids will remember building it with you
Of course.
more than they will remember playing on it.
Yeah.
That'll be the bigger memory for them. That's the more important one. And after they're done building it, they'll respect it and they'll take care of it differently.
Yeah.
Much, much better. I think what you're doing is fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because I think about the shit that I did with my dad, and there were things that we made together and stuff like that, but I remembered the process more of doing it,
Yeah, and I know myself, dude. Like especially if I'm like in a project, like I can get really like standoffish and like leave me alone. Let me do this, and
Sure.
like I get like pissed off if like people interrupt me and stuff. And so the whole time I'm just checking, to like make sure everybody's having fun, and I make light of it. So yeah, but that's only just recently. I've kind of like in the beginning when I started building it, it was kind of a lot of that, So now I'm trying to check myself.
See, if I ever built something and I had my kids help me, I would actually need their help. I'd be like, all right, listen, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
You tell your son, could you Google this real quick?
Listen up, buddy. You're pretty good at math, right? Can you figure this out for me real quick? And then we'll buy the parts. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Man, and, yeah.
You know what I didn't ask you guys, because you guys obviously kids, and I'm sure they went trick or treating. Like, How is that process for you guys? Do you guys limit them to how much they can eat of that? Do you trade them? And then also, how much fucking candy did you guys eat yourselves?
Oh, yeah. I actually have a cool, Courtney actually came up with this solution for that. And this year what we did was we went and hit this one place where you could get the maximal amount of houses within an hour and a half, and the kids were exhausted by the end of it, which was great because it was super early. And so we allowed them a few candies to eat then, but then they traded out their candies to upgrade to a toy. So we traded that out for some cheap toy.
So did you buy the toys ahead of time?
We basically bought we divvied up, and they were able to keep 5 to 8 pieces of candy that were their favorites, and then the rest of them they sort of turned in, and we got them a little Lego thing.
And then you and Courtney go crush all the candy?
And then we crushed, I crushed all the Reese's. I think it was 4 Reese's. I was like, those are mine.
You'll laugh after.
Yeah.
No, what we do because my ex and I will divide up the holidays, but so far Halloween we all go trick-or-treating together. So me, Jessica, and my ex and my kids, and then they have friends and cousins that come along.
Did you guys dress up
this year? Yeah.
We dressed up. Jessica and I did.
Your ex?
My ex didn't dress up this
You know
year.
what would be hella funny? Is if you and Jessica dressed up as them, as a couple.
What do you mean?
You guys go to Halloween thing and they show up.
What's wrong with you?
What?
If you dressed up as her fucking new boyfriend and Jessica dressed up as her.
Oh my God.
And they show up to the dude,
That'd be so twisted.
It would be so good to do that. It would be fucking hilarious.
Trip out the kids. No, but we do it. There's this where I used to live. There's this great loop for trick or treating, and there's this haunted house where the people that live there must be into or must have worked at some point in professional makeup.
Oh, there's always a house like that.
So
right?
there's all these statues that are grotesque and very frightening. Little kids don't go near this thing because they push it really far. But my daughter this year finally worked up the courage. She's like, I want to go to the haunted house. I'm like, all right. And she went through the whole thing by herself. And
by herself?
She wanted to go by herself. And she was totally into it. So it was really cool. And then what we do when we get all the candies, we come home, everybody will have a couple pieces, and then all the candy, the school that my kids go to, they donate the candy.
Oh, that's cool.
So then we just turned all the candy in.
That's nice.
So literally, everybody got 2 pieces of candy, and that was it.
Oh, that's even better. Last year, I just threw it all away. So yeah, I was like, I'll be less of a dick this
If
year.
you think about it, Halloween's an interesting holiday, and I don't forget the historical roots of it and what it was for and all that. It's funny because I have a family member that's like, it's satanic, you shouldn't, whatever, and I'm like, nobody cares anymore. We don't celebrate. We don't know what the roots of Halloween are.
Yeah.
When I look at Halloween
We're
today,
dressing up as Buzz Lightyear. Yeah.
It's
satanic Buzz Lightyear.
when I do it today, the way I was, as we were doing this trick or treating thing, it's this is kind of a cool way to meet your neighbors. You know what I mean? Just to ring on people's door and
Totally
meet your neighbor. Although people nowadays drive to other neighborhoods. Do you know this,
bro?
Yeah.
Everyone
that's
goes
what
into our neighborhood, dude.
That's so stupid.
You go to the rich neighborhoods where they give the big fucking full size candy bars out. That's the hustle.
Well, nobody comes down in our neighborhood, bro. We took the kids to our neighbors though to kind of just hi, and they saw them. Yeah, so what is cool is every year now they'll have just just enough candy just for our kids because our kids are the only ones on the block. And so we do at least keep that just to kind of connect with the neighbors. But yeah, we got to go to where we're going to get the maximal amount of candy in a short amount of time.
Well, there's a neighborhood in Willow Glen that everybody talks about, and if you go there, it's lines of kids each house. It's so many people.
That's how that's how it was in our neighborhood, and
it's
so
too much.
It's crazy. It was crazy in our neighborhood, and same with Silver Creek. You go up in Silver Creek, it's like that too because they get known as everybody on the block. Make sure they give out candy, and they give out full size. Yeah, full size candy.
The king size.
Yeah.
So what are the differences between Halloween when we were kids? Because I was talking about this the other day, and there's some definite differences between Halloween when we were kids and a Halloween now. What are some big differences that you guys see?
I would go everywhere, and I had a pillowcase that my whole goal was to fill this big ass pillowcase. It didn't even matter. It was volume, dude.
Yes, and I would go, and I don't see kids ever trick or treating by themselves.
I was running.
We used to go by ourselves.
Oh yeah, you rarely saw parents.
No.
The only time you saw parents is when they had little
little
kids that were barely walking with them. But if you were old enough to fucking go to school. If you're old enough to go to school, you're old enough to go
8 to 10, like we're running.
I remember 11 years old, 10 years old, me and my cousins were gone. And we would come back with a pillowcase, like you said, full of candy. And we would walk far. And we were gone for hours.
Yeah.
The other big difference that when I talk to parents now, parents rarely now, because when we used to come home with the candy, my mom and dad would be like, oh, how did you guys have fun? Yeah, we had fun. We go straight to my room.
Yeah.
We'd take our pillow sacks. We'd dump them out. We would start doing the candy trade, this piece for that.
Trade, yeah.
And then we would eat until we got sick.
Yeah.
Remember that? You just sit there and just mow just through all the candy.
Yeah.
Parents don't do that anymore. Like now when I talk to parents, they're like, no, I let my kids have a couple pieces and then I take the candy. So the kids aren't sitting there with the mound of candy.
Yeah, we did.
Which is kind of a good thing.
Horde of candy.
That is one good thing that's happening now.
Dude, I used to eat that whole pillowcase of candy in like less than a week. So I just eat a shit ton of it every day.
Yeah.
And I'd take it to school.
Oh, yeah.
That was a little big crazy difference. What are you writing up there, Doug? Oh, there's a new flavor for skinny dipped almonds, a holiday flavor. Are we supposed to guess?
Is that
What's a good Christmassy flavor? Reindeer meat,
reindeer meat?
That would go over real well.
Santa's chocolate balls,
snowman semen.
Oh, dude. Yeah, Skinny Dip's gonna love that commercial.
No. Those are terrible ideas. I'm sure they want to adopt those. What is the flavor?
Is it
Doug?
live? Is it going to be live, Doug? I know they dropped the new dark chocolate peanut butter flavor. I know that is now on the website. But is the new Christmas flavor released yet, or when is it releasing?
I don't think it's out yet.
What's it going to be?
I think we're going to be getting a sample of it this next week.
Do you know what it's going to be?
I don't know personally.
It's probably going to be a peppermint.
I'm pretty sure it's not the ones that you mentioned. Though.
Yeah, no.
Well, they did
They
did a post already, so I saw their post on Instagram. They blocked the front of it, so you can't tell what it is. But it's a red bag, and it's Christmas.
It was like pumpkin pie.
So
it would be good like a salted peppermint.
Or like apple pie.
They did the pumpkin one already. The pumpkin one's so good.
Yeah,
that one is good.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
I know.
I haven't tried the dark chocolate peanut butter though.
So
I haven't either. I'm excited about that one.
I've gotten a few messages from people since we've been working with Skinny Dipped, cursing me for introducing them to Skinny Dip because they're just eating bags of it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, so if you're listening right now, the strategy is not to buy, and I don't know if Skinny Dip's going to appreciate me saying this, not to buy the big, massive bags, is to buy the box that has all the individual. That's what has saved me. Because if you give me that big bag,
you'll eat the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a 700-calorie snack for me. I'll crush the whole thing easily. But if I have it in the little 200-calorie bags, I'll discipline myself to when I go downstairs, I'll just have one of them, and I'll eat it. And that is definitely saved me from crushing, 700 calories worth of almonds. So
they're doing really well.
Yeah.
People love their product. It's got to be one of the more popular sponsors.
I love it. Have you seen some of their ads where they're like comparing, I forget, Chunky Hunk or Dunk or whatever, like some other brand that like has like it's all chocolate with a tiny little nut.
Yeah, chocolate almonds have been around forever, but for the longest time
it's usually more chocolate.
It was chocolate with a little bit of nut in it. Yeah. Where this is the flip on that. It's mostly nut and it's just got a thin layer of chocolate. And I don't know, for someone like me who doesn't eat candy like I used to eat candy before, it's a really nice treat. It doesn't feel like I'm eating a bunch of chocolate. It feels like I'm eating almonds that have got a great flavor to them. So, it's become definitely one of my favorite sponsors. I mean, I think I'm holding up the sponsorship by myself.
You're buying them all? Yeah. Are you using our code, Adam?
Of course I do.
To get our 20% off.
If I'm going to be spending money, makes me get the business credit, right?
Dude, so I want to read to you guys an article that just came out recently in MIT News. So one of the biggest challenges that presents itself to humanity in our near future. There's a few challenges that could literally threaten all of humanity. There's like nuclear wars being one of them that's been around for a long time. And one of the other ones that a lot of scientists talk about that isn't getting enough attention that should get more attention are antibiotic resistant bacteria strains.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So what we have, we've been using antibiotics now for a little while, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually a small sliver of time, right? For the most of human history, bacterial infections, if you got one, your body either fought it off or it didn't, and then many times you die. And it was one of the greatest killers of mankind. The invention of antibiotics. That's probably one of the greatest things that Western medicine has brought the world is antibiotics to prevent, the death from infection. Mm-hmm. But bacteria evolve quickly and they multiply quickly. And we've had to come out with different antibiotics because old ones stopped working on certain strains. And what we're now getting are these bacterial strains or infections that antibiotics just don't touch.
Just purely resists them.
Yeah, you'll get this infection, like there's flesh-eating bacteria and MRSA or whatever, and you're pretty much there's nothing they can do. They can't throw anything at it, and you're fucked. Your body either fights it off or it doesn't. You die. And so the big fear is this will eventually happen to most bacteria strains, is as these bacteria evolve, like how are we going to fight them? Mm-hmm. So the study comes out and it's fucking brilliant. So researchers showed that by delivering a combination of antibiotic drugs and probiotics, they could eradicate 2 strains of drug-resistant bacteria that often infect wounds. It's a completely new strategy.
Oh, wow.
So they're giving people...
They're introducing a different culture in there as well.
They're giving them antibiotics and a probiotic of healthy bacteria.
I saw you posted this in the forum, or somebody posted.
I did.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mm-hmm. And it's working phenomenally in these particular tests. How freaking awesome is that?
Yeah, that is awesome.
Like, this is a great strategy because now you're using positive bacteria with so you're not necessarily creating more antibiotics, and you're using a different way to attack the bacteria. Probably helping your body.
What's the success rate? Like, what's the group size that we're dealing with? I mean,
I don't know the whole everything about this, but people are getting excited about it because it seems to be extremely effective. Definitely more effective than what we were doing before, which was throwing like 15 different antibiotics at something.
This always makes me think too, like the more like exposure. I know, like for a while there, we were pretty much like putting like antibiotic soap everywhere and just nuking like all bacteria around us. And in terms of like growing up with it and having like building your own like antibodies and your immune system to kind of fight and resist like the changing bacteria, like that being like a strategy too that's sort of been lost.
Well, the problem is there's a few things that contribute to this. One is antibiotic use for a while there was just frivolous. Like when I was a kid, if I went into the doctor and my ear hurt or my throat hurt, they would just they would throw me an antibiotic, no questions.
Yeah.
There was never. Now you see it's different. Now if I bring my kids, they'll look and be like, well, we're not sure if it's an infection. Let's wait and see. But when we were kids, they would just give you antibiotics willy-nilly. So that's one of the issues. The other issue is the antibiotic use in for cattle, for pigs.
Yeah, we're getting it from meat too.
Yeah, we're just treating all these things with antibiotics. And then on top of it, we're spraying incredible amounts of glyphosates on our crops, which act like antibiotics in the soil. And so then they start to sterilize the soil. And then, of course, antibiotic soaps, which are different than your regular soap. Like regular soap washes bacteria off your hands. Antibiotic soap, lingers after a while and has an antibiotic properties. But when you wash that off, it gets in our water supply.
Yeah, it runs off and gets in the water.
Yeah, and
soil.
So we're just antibiotics everything, and so it's accelerated this process of evolution by bacteria, and so it's very important that they're figuring out ways to battle bacteria that don't have to do with antibiotics. So it's pretty cool. You know that the cannabis plant, some cannabinoids possess antibiotic properties, but natural antibiotic properties.
It's the super plant. I mean, let's be
Exactly.
honest. It does fucking everything.
It's like the best commercial for every day.
Pro
I make the
weed.
best.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, pretty interesting because it's scary stuff. If we ever get to a point where bacterial infections don't respond to antibiotics anymore, that's kind of crazy. I mean, imagine getting an ear infection or strep throat and you don't have medicine that works.
Oh yeah, that's a scary thought, man. I mean, even you mentioned the MRSA, like you know how gross and horrific that like process is. Like I've seen like wrestlers and it's just eaten away. It's just this gooey like mess. Like can you imagine that not healing ever?
Dude, I had a buddy that when I used to do jiu-jitsu, he was also a wrestler and he took a shit load of time off of training.
Yeah.
He came back after a while. I'm like, dude, where you been? And he's like, dude, I got that infection, and he had a hole in his like lat, so it like hit him here under his arm.
It eats away,
and he pulled up his arm, and there was just a hole because they had to cut out all the tissue that was infected to try and get him to be better.
Did you guys watch the UFC card this weekend on Saturday?
No.
Damn, dude.
Did you?
Fuck, bro. I can't ever talk any sports.
I know
with you guys.
DC won.
Bro, Cormier fought. Okay, so first time this has ever, a couple first times happened this weekend, which was really cool. The guy you guys saw, I think he's called. I think his Instagram handle is Black Beast UFC or some shit like that. The guy who took his pants off.
He fought again.
Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah, so first time ever a guy has fought back to back. They gave him a title shot. They give him a title shot because Daniel Cormier comes out and says, "Yeah, I'll
He
fight."
just fought though.
Yeah, I know. That's why I thought it was why? Like, why would he do that?
They cleared him that
well,
fast. Huh?
well, exactly. So for him, it was a no-brainer. That's a shot at the
Oh,
championship.
just because he wants.
Yeah,
the
that
belt.
was an opportunity for him. Now, the person at risk is Cormier. Cormier's at risk because he wasn't he didn't have training camp. I mean, he had 4 weeks to prepare for this guy.
Oh.
But here's what Cormier says, like, fuck yeah, I'll take that fight, because he knew that he was so much better than he was skill wise, that he's like, he wasn't even afraid
Yeah,
to
it's
get.
not a good match for Lewis at all.
Now,
Bro,
did he dominate him?
I have not seen. It's been a long time since I've seen a card where, of course, I'm looking at the betting lines. You never see. It's typical on almost all fights, especially a championship fight. 2.5 to 3.5 rounds is what they'll normally say the over-under is for someone supposed to last. It was only 1.5, and Cormier finished him before the 1.5 rounds, like 5 or 10 seconds
What, you
before.
just took him down and choked him out or something?
Yeah, man, he ended up getting his back. He was so much more skilled than
He was out.
Oh, he's a machine, dude.
It's
He's
crazy.
the best wrestler
Dude,
out there.
So now Cormier has the light heavyweight belt, the heavyweight belt, and has defended both those belts more than once. Wow. That has fucking never been done in UFC history before.
The only thing, and I know this is just probably gets on his nerves, is when people bring up John Jones.
I know.
Because that's the only guy that's beat him and pretty easily. Mm-hmm. And John Jones is all, forget that guy. He's all fucked
fighting in December. I can't wait.
Yeah,
if he passes his drug test.
Yeah, it's
He
really.
will. I'm confident.
I hope so. He's the most talented fighter I would say I've ever seen.
Yeah.
When he's on point, I've never seen anybody like him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. Cormier is just, every time I see him fight, I'm more and more impressed with him as a fighter. To see him throw guys around too that got 20 pounds on him. I mean,
I know.
Dude, that dude
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he's just so skilled, dude.
Technique.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you.
It's because the way his body looks,
I was just going to say,
Yeah,
it just goes to show you with fighting. This is something you learn very quickly when you train. If you go train in, jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or anything that's full contact, you quickly learn that looks just don't always give you this full story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you see the buffed rip dude, and then you see the fat. So like if Chris Cormier, if you saw him on the street, if you saw him at the beach with his shirt off, Daniel, excuse me.
Yeah.
If you saw him with his shirt off,
you wouldn't even think anything.
you'd be like, oh gosh, this guy,
Yeah, he doesn't.
whatever. He would beat the crap.
And he's
out
got
of
a mild manner personality. He's just he's a funny guy. You would just never guess this dude would just fucking manhandle these dudes, dude. And he does. And that's, to me, it's so impressive because if it's one thing, like McGregor has gone up and down in weight and fought for belts, right? Mm-hmm. But he also is in this real light class where the difference of 8 to 9 pounds. Well, Cormier's fighting light heavyweight, and heavyweight goes all the way up to 240. I think 243 or 2.
Brock Lesnar fuckers.
That's who's got next.
Oh my god.
That's who the next fight. Cormier's fighting Brock Lesnar.
No way.
Yeah, so that's
you know what I love about
that?
that?
Are they really going to test him? I feel like the last time he fought, they just kind of ushered him in really quick.
Yeah, that's the big.
He brings money.
I know,
Everybody
of course
wants to see him fight.
Yeah. I mean, I don't give a shit. Like, I want to see it.
Yeah.
But,
when Brock fights somebody really, really high class, he has a tough time because he doesn't have the same technique.
Yeah, but he's a good wrestler though, so that might be.
There's a difference between good wrestler and world class,
like Olympic, medalist.
Trust me, when you it's no different than like a really good basketball player, college,
right.
and then the best pro. That's like a light. It might as well go from beginner to college. It's literally the gap is so big in skill, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
I've seen judo guys that were just phenomenal, and then you see these Olympians come in and throw them around like they're children. Yeah. And it's just you're watching it just like this is a whole nother
Lesnar
level.
Is a lot of body mass.
He is.
That's a lot to deal with, and he's strong as fuck. So it's like that. I don't know.
I feel like
that's a tough fight.
Brock Lesnar, if he existed 1,000 years ago, for sure he'd have a kingdom, right?
Yeah.
On a horse.
You'd definitely be a Viking that just pillaged everybody.
Yeah, just everybody listen to him. Like, just do what he
pillaging.
says.
Yeah.
Just do what he says.
He's running through towns.
Dude, so when does voting stop? When do the voting booths close down? I guess
5 or 7 p.m.
not till
tonight. I
later.
think.
is it?
Yeah,
So when this
I'm
when this
going.
drops, there's still time to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to
Okay.
go to Santa Cruz.
So
after this.
my advice to you is this:
Don't vote.
if you haven't thought of voting, just don't. Just don't do it.
That's
If
how
you
I
haven't looked into it, then it's too late.
I hate
don't
to
know.
get out and vote.
I
push.
hate the get out and vote push either.
I can't stand it.
It just drives me fucking crazy. Like, no, if you don't, if
Unless
you're not
educated.
yeah,
about it.
don't. You're fucking it up. You're fucking it up. If you go out there and you fucking blindly pick, or you fucking go off of some National Enquirer news
Don't
that you
listen to
read,
these
and that's
people.
what makes you go fucking vote,
Dude,
get the fuck out of here. Stay the fuck home.
I got this.
Yeah.
I get my ballot.
you should have to take a test.
You have to
Dude.
read first.
It shouldn't be a right. It should be a privilege. That's what I think. I think you should have to take. You should have to. And you know what? I would make the test so hard I would not even be able to pass it, because I don't even pay attention enough that I don't think I deserve to go vote. Like,
Dude,
that's just.
I got the ballot because I do my absentee ballot, right? And I'm reading these things, and I'm relatively privy to this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm reading the way they word things and the way they put them is
they
so
twist it.
It's so confusing, and I have to look some stuff up. And there's a lot of things I didn't even vote on. I left because I'm
Vote
like,
no on something that really means yes.
So yes, so usually I vote no on most things, but you have to be careful because sometimes a no means a yes.
Yeah.
And the way they word
almost
things
all the time.
Oh, the way they word things too is like, it's they'll basically word things in a way that's like, do you want better roads? Like, of course, you don't realize you're voting for like a massive.
Well,
investment.
let's talk about that one for a second, because this is something that I find a lot of people go out and vote, and the way they make their decision of voting is based off of how that one law is going to directly affect them financially.
Sure.
For example, the one on the roads and the bridges and shit like that. Like, okay, well I can't remember what prop that is, but I know that impacts Katrina's company greatly. Because when what ends up happening is somebody goes around and deems that, hey, we haven't redone this bridge in 20 years.
Right.
Let's take the taxpayers' money and let's fucking
Fix it or whatever.
fix this bridge that's still fucking working. Everybody's driving across it. And what that does for a big company like Katrina's company is it supplies jobs and works for them during slow times. So during slow times, when they're not out doing private jobs, they are being contracted out by the government to go redo all the concrete and all these bridges. So keeps them busy, and it drives millions of more dollars towards the business. So, of course, if you work for that company, they're pushing that agenda to go do that. But what does that technically do to all of us for taxpayers?
It's not just that. It's also the government is so incredibly inefficient with money. It's absolutely insane. They don't have the same market pressures to perform and do well.
Yeah.
And so for every dollar
There's
that
no
they
urgency.
Well, my point
they're
of
wasting more. It's just,
my point of bringing that up is that most people don't understand basic economics to be able to see the long-term effect of decisions like that. They see the short-term, and I see this with all my friends that are in the teaching profession and that go out and they vote on things that directly affect them in their teaching career, and like how they
Right.
make it's like that's so small-minded, is to go take a vote on something just because it financially changes something positive or negative for you. You have to look down what happens.
well, so here's a great
Big
example.
picture.
The
I'll give you
unintended consequences.
Yes, I'll give you a great example, Adam, of that. So there was I believe in the ballot in California, there was something to support more rent control. So rent control laws are laws that say rent can't go up past a certain percentage to try to, what they're saying is they're trying to make it more affordable to live in California for particular people. Now, on the surface, it sounds like a good idea. Yeah, like it is getting expensive in California. We do need to control rent. What people don't realize is, first of all, why is rent so expensive? It's expensive because there's a high demand for space and there's a low supply for space. So there's all these people who want to, rent an
it's very
apartment or
concentrated.
whatever, but there's very, very low supply. When you do rent control, what you're doing is you're reducing the supply even more. Now, some people benefit, the few people who get that rent control, but a lot of people don't benefit. Actually, it's detrimental to them because it's reduced the supply. It also makes investment in properties much more difficult, because if I own a building and I can't raise my rent to raise money to renovate my building and possibly build more, then it just stays that way. And then buildings get dilapidated. They don't look that clean, that whatever, they're not up to date. And I don't reinvest. Builders don't want to reinvest in building more because they know they're not going to be able to make money because of rent control. So the reality is rent control laws actually skew the market signals to a point where it makes things worse. It makes it more difficult to get places and more expensive for most people. But people don't look beyond the immediate, oh, it's going to control my rent right now.
No, it's
not realizing
the way
it makes things a lot worse.
90% of people vote right now is directly what impacts them personally without thinking how that affects us economically as a whole. Yeah. And that's the part that drives me crazy.
Or
with
the
Get
worst, they have like a party that makes all the decisions for them.
That's how most people.
I fucking hate that.
That's how most people
use
vote.
your brain.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why when they're like, everybody get out and vote, we got to make everybody vote. I'm like, don't.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't, because most people have no idea.
It's just like peer pressure back in the day. Like, are you just going to succumb to peer pressure? Or are you going to fucking think for yourself?
They're trying to make it cool so everybody wears their sticker. But if you ask, here's the thing I would say, fine, if you do go vote, don't vote on everything. Only vote on the things that are most important to you that you know. But if you don't understand
literally
stuff,
case by case.
Yeah, just leave it blank. Just don't vote on those particular things. That's what I would say.
This quaz brought to you by Organifi. For those days you fall short on getting your organic veggies or whole food nutrition, Organifi fills the gap with laboratory-tested certified organic superfoods to help give your health and performance the added edge. Try Organifi totally risk-free for 60 days by going to Organifi.com. That's Organifi.com. And use the coupon code MINDPUMP for 20% off at checkout.
First question is from Derek McMullen. What kind of effect does the time of day you train have on strength? Is there an optimal time to work out to maximize the amount of weight you can lift?
Did we get into this a little bit with Dr. Cabral?
I don't remember.
I think we did touch on it because I used to say, whatever time that you will get up and work out and be most consistent is the most important and the most beneficial for strength, for size, for losing body fat.
You mentioned something with cortisol.
He did.
Levels, yeah.
He did talk about some optimal times technically to lift, but I still would say what we've been saying since day one. So whether the science supports where cortisol levels are for optimal lifting for building strength, that's one thing. But I think consistency and enjoying the time that you work out trumps any sort of scientific base on hormonally what could be the best time for you to be lifting. Because if 2:00 in the afternoon, based off of meal, cortisol, and everything else, is this is the best time to lift and build strength. Well, okay, that's great. If you're a full-time bodybuilder and you actually have all day and that's all you do full-time professionally is to lift weights, then that makes sense to schedule it around hormone peaking and shit. But if you're an average Jane or Joe that just wants to be in great shape, wants to build some strength, then the time that you go that you'll be the most consistent with, because
that's the most important.
Is the most important.
Yeah, the time that's going to work for you and the one that you're going to be able to do most consistent is most important. That all being said, there are some benefits to morning workouts and there are some benefits to afternoon workouts. Now, the benefits of a morning workout are that you get it out of the way and that it doesn't potentially disrupt sleep. Some people, when they work out in the afternoon, have a more difficult time going to sleep. Now, in my opinion, I think it's because they worked out too hard. I think if you work out appropriately, unless you work out right before you go to bed, then it shouldn't disrupt your sleep. In the morning, testosterone levels naturally I think they start to peak, but so do cortisol levels. The testosterone response to resistance training is actually best in the afternoon. And studies, because they've done a few studies on this, performance is best in the afternoon, typically. If you're going to lift weights and you want to be at your strongest and have your most stamina.
Anecdotally, that's what I've always found.
Yeah.
Like, especially around 1 o'clock. It's like this window of like 12 to 2 is like my sweet spot. So I'm sure that's going to vary, from individual to individual. But there has to be something along those lines of like where your testosterone, you're feeling the most impact with that.
My favorite time to work out, if I could just work out whenever, is in the afternoon between noon to 3. I like that time because it breaks up my day. It energizes me when maybe I may notice an energy dip. I get more creativity for later on in the afternoon if I want to write or whatever. And I just feel my strongest. I feel my most mobile and I feel my best. That being said, what the time of day that you train most consistently, your body does learn to start to adapt to get better at it.
Right.
So I've worked out now for the past couple years at about 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. is about the time that it's early as fuck, really, really early. It took me 6 months to get acclimated to it, to the point now where I have okay workouts early in the morning. Still not as good as my afternoon workouts, but at least now I can wake up and make it happen. But it took me 6 months to get used to.
Well, the benefit of that is the consistency. I've found with the early morning workouts, it's the most consistent I've been when I did that. Like, and would do the 6 a.m. workouts. I remember that was like the biggest benefit to that. But the actual amount of like how I felt in terms of performance was never close to what I felt during the middle of the day.
The other thing too is I like to have a little bit of caffeine before my workout, and I don't like caffeine first thing in the morning quite as much, because first thing in the morning my cortisol is going up already. I'm starting to wake up. I think if I throw caffeine on top of it, I tend to crash a little bit more afterwards. So I prefer, ideal situation is to wake up, not have any caffeine, not work out, do my thing, come to work, whatever. After work, have a little caffeine, or later in the afternoon, like at 3 or 2, then do my workout, and I just get my absolute best workouts. But most people don't have the flexibility to be able to dictate when they work out. So a lot of times when people ask this question, it's funny because I'm always like, well, what time can you work out?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know very many people that are like, oh, I can just let me know the best time because I can work out at any time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's super rare, right? If you guys could pick, you said afternoon, same thing for you.
I'm 12 to 2, man. It's been that way for now. Again, most of my training career as personal trainers is your work hours tend to be the most prime times are 5 a.m. to
That's kind of a sweet
10
spot for
right
trainers.
5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and basically 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night. So the middle of the day always made the most sense for me to train. I loved having the gym to myself. Right, you go into most popular gyms. If you go in there about noon to 3, they're pretty dead. In comparison to prime hours. So my whole career I've trained myself to. Now I've done everything from training as late as midnight to training as early as 4 in the morning, and tried to make consistency out of those based off of whatever I had going on in my life. Nothing has been as successful as me just breaking the middle of my day up, and I've got that luxury that everything that I've done since I've been into training has allowed me to have this break in the afternoon. I also, for me. And I think I remember talking to Dr. Cabral about this, about the differences in body types. And just for me, after I've had 2 meals, it's always been my sweet. So for me, more than actually like exactly what time of the day is once I've got 2 meals in my body,
you have better workout.
I have just way better workouts. And I remember when we first were getting into fasting, when we first started the podcast, and I still intermittent fast and use that occasionally, but my performance was never great when I got adapted to where I could train fasted, and I went on a long stretch there where I was actually working out a lot fasted and was fine and lifted great. But when I'm fed 2 meals in me and about an hour, 2 hours after the second meal, those are by far my best performing workouts.
Have you guys have experience doing like really late night workouts?
Yeah.
Those are fun sometimes.
The only problem with
Sometimes
that
it's
is,
fun.
and I know you made a comment about, that maybe people are overtraining that, and maybe I was around that time because
It is hard to sleep after.
yeah,
Just
my
get
adrenaline,
stimulated.
it just gets my adrenaline going. Go do some deadlifts or squats at fucking 11 o'clock at night. It's hard to like wind down from that.
When I used to, manage or whatever, there was a gym down in Palm Springs area, and I was one of the main investors, so I had a key to the place or whatever. And we would close the gym on the weekends at 10 p.m. The gym also had this sports bar in there, and we had beer and wine in there. And so there were a couple times where I'd close the gym at 10, and then me and some of the personal trainers, we'd drink a little bit, get a little loose, have a great time, and then we'd be like, let's go fucking lift. And we would be out there lifting fucking 11 o'clock, midnight. The gym is closed to the public. It's just us. Those were some of the best workouts ever. Now, I will say I injured myself a couple times doing those workouts because you get a little alcohol in you and you're with your buddies and no one's in the gym.
We don't
And I was
recommend
young too. I was like 22, or you just think you're invincible. I actually pulled a lat. I didn't even know that was possible, but I pulled a lat once doing that.
Next question is from Ryan Alduenda. What is the last thing you recall promoting on this podcast as being beneficial for health or fitness that looking back, your thoughts have changed?
I picked this question because we actually answer this question about every 200 or 300 episodes or so, and I think it's good for us. I think it allows us to reflect a little bit on some of the things that we say, because those that have been listening since day one know that never on this show do we try and come off as the authority or always being right. Well, there's been many things what we've said in the past or that we thought was one way, and then we found out it was another way, and so and we admit that we love having our paradigms shattered. So there's been things for sure that we've said on the podcast that we've moved away from. For example, even foam rolling. Like foam rolling was like a staple in like all of my clients. Like it was something that
It's the very first thing you do.
Yeah, it was the first thing you did. It was something that I thought was necessary for me in order for me to start my workout. Otherwise, my hips would be so tight. And what I had not been introduced to was, proper priming or mobility work. And since I've incorporated that, I've completely. I can count on one hand in the last 4 years now that I've actually even pulled the foam roller out and used it. And a lot of times it's just out of boredom. I'm just laying there.
What a difference.
Yeah.
It's such a huge, it's me too.
Difference.
It was what I did before every workout. Before every single workout, I went through this whole process of foam rolling my IT band, foam rolling, up near my sciatica area. I foam roll my inner thighs, under my armpits and my lats. And I would go through this whole mid back, and then I'd do my workout. Now it's like priming, and I'm in it. Yeah. And if I do foam roll now, it's after. It's at the end of the workout. And so there's still benefit to it, but it's totally changed how I approach it.
Yeah, I look at it as like a more of sort of an acute treatment. So it's something that, like, if I have pain or I want to address something in order to promote, better movement, like I might sit on that. But I've found that even the effects I get from the foam roller in comparison to now just doing a mobility drill or something where I'm activating the joint and the muscles, surrounding it, it lasts so much longer, and then I can build off of that so much easier. Like the foam rolling, it's almost like a little parlor trick, to get your muscles to respond.
It
properly.
doesn't solve the root cause of your problem. Foam rolling doesn't solve it. Now, it can be a part of the solution in the sense that it can cause you to move in ways that are are better.
Can help unlock movement.
Yeah,
sometimes.
But in and of itself, it's not a root cause solution. Priming is a root cause solution. So what you find when you prime is the first time you do it, you automatically feel better. But the more you do it, the less of it you need. Like the more that I prime, the less that I need to prime. Now I continue to prime because I don't want to go back to the point where I have to. But with foam rolling, wasn't like that. Foam rolling was I had to do every single time, and if I didn't, then boom, there's my pain.
Yeah, it comes right back.
So that's a big one. The other big one is pre-workout amino acids and branched chain amino acids. When we first started the podcast, I used to recommend taking branched chain amino acids before and after your workout. And the thought was it would reduce damage to the muscle. It would promote muscle protein synthesis. So it would help with the growth process, this, that, and the other.
All the things that all the companies that sell them the studies they try and promote.
Right. Now the studies are pretty clear that if you're eating enough protein, it's a complete waste of money.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't do it. So if you want to increase protein synthesis post-workout, branched chain amino acids might do it, but you know what does a better job of that? Just protein, just whole protein. I mean, one scoop of Organifi protein, for example, is going to have more branched chain amino acids in it than your branched chain amino acid supplement will. Yeah. So it's got more of that plus everything else. And again, if your protein intake is adequate, a total waste.
Yeah, one thing I was trying to think of something. We completely revised our nutrition guide, and for a very specific reason too. One of them being the calculators that were on there, and just going through that. Like beforehand, I was really focused on metrics, and like I know Adam likes to track a lot, and I think it's really important to track. But as far as like getting your BMR and, figuring out sort of where your homeostasis is with your calories and all that, to me seems like completely counterproductive in terms of like what you could be doing in terms of tracking your daily intake, throughout a couple weeks and really just logging everything in comparison to like getting some arbitrary number spit at you from a calculator. So I don't believe in them.
Those calculators are notoriously inaccurate.
It's just so general, and people stick on those numbers like it's powerful.
Yeah, that's a good one. Another one is the vibrating plates. We talked about this recently on a recent podcast.
Yeah, that we were the opposite of that. We were not promoting.
No,
it.
we made fun of them.
Right.
We totally made fun of the vibrating plates because we thought they didn't do much for you. Now, I will say this.
That a lot of people use them like
wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of people use them wrong.
Yeah, that's why.
The vibrating it's funny, the gym that we used to film our YouTube videos in, so we haven't been there for a long time, but they had a vibrating plate. And so then I actually got a membership there.
It gives you a nice orgasm.
And I'd work out in the what?
What? Nothing.
I'd work out there in the morning, and I started fooling around with it. And what I noticed is if I first thing got on a vibrating plate and tried to squat, I could get down really low and increase my mobility dramatically. And then I quickly realized, the vibrations from the vibrating plate is tricking my central nervous system to relax. It's giving me this bigger ranges of motion. So I could see the utility in it. That being said, I will stand by this statement. I don't think they're worth the investment. They're like expensive. Aren't those things
expensive?
How much does a vibrating plate cost?
10 to 20 grand at least.
I'm not going to spend 10 grand on a vibrating plate when I could do that with just priming, which will cost me nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you have one, is there utility? Absolutely.
Yeah, no, if you're in if you have a gym that has one already and they've purchased it for you, like the Club One you're talking about, I mean, I think that's awesome. And I think there are some benefits to using it. Now, I will also say, too, that a lot of people use it stupid. Like you see a lot of people exercising on it and because
doing push-ups on it.
Yeah, because I think the average person thinks the benefits that you're getting is the challenge of the unstable environment. It goes back to the old school.
Stand on the physio ball shit.
Yes. Like, because it's vibrating, you're having to stabilize, and so all these stabilizer muscles are firing.
You're working harder.
Yeah, you're working harder. More calories are burning. Like, I could pitch it that way, but it's garbage that way. It's where I see a lot of benefit to it is to help increase that range of motion and get yourself primed before you go into it.
Yeah, because the way I would do it is I would get on it and I would increase my range of motion. Then I'd get off of it, try to get the same range of motion. Then I would add a little bit of resistance to connect to that new range of motion. So there was a whole process that I went through to really, utilize some of the benefits.
It helps your body to recognize that.
Right. There was one more that I was just thinking about. That was a big
pre-workout.
No, sauna. Sauna. I remember early on when we first started podcasting, we would get the question: does a sauna help with fat loss or muscle building? And we're like, no. It's just the weight you lose is is sweat. And it doesn't really benefit those two. I've changed my mind now. I've read enough studies that show that there are legit, significant health benefits from regular sauna use, and the sauna seems to improve the body's ability to adapt to resistance training, so build more muscle, and may help and aid the body's ability to burn body fat. But that has to be used consistently on a consistent basis. And the best time to use it, from what I've read so far, is post-workout. But consistent use of a sauna, you boost your growth hormone levels like crazy. That's the biggest one. Every study they do, these people go in a sauna and they use it consistently. Their growth hormone goes up by like 2, 3, 4 times as high. In some cases, long use, you're looking at 1,600% increase in growth hormone. Natural.
Wow. I've been sold on it I've been sold on it for a while, regardless of this, because you could feel it. I feel great.
Yeah.
And I was just telling Taylor this the other day. I said, man, the next time, and Eli, because I know Eli's been grinding like crazy at work. I said, dude, the next time you come in here and you're just feeling kind of, groggy and tired and you don't feel well rested, I'm like, go sit in that red light sauna for 20, 30 minutes and then tell me how you feel after you get out. It's crazy how I feel after that. I've never done something like where I feel so bleh, and then I go and spend 20 minutes doing something like that, and then come out of it going like, oh my God, dude, I feel reset.
It's Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She's the one that really got me looking because she talks so much about it.
Yeah. And
then you look up the studies and like, there was one study, it was a massive study that the regular sauna use cut all-cause mortality down by like 40%. It was like some insane number. Yeah. And now that I have one in my house, I use it at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. and we'll see what
It's
kind
so funny because I used to think, the same. That was like, okay, it's so useless. Like it is just like you're sweating because my dad is like, he's always done like the Stairmaster and then like the sauna. Like that's his go-to like workout. And I'm like, you're not doing anything. And so at least he's got the sauna part, like he's doing that. But we're trying to get some weight training in there, and then you'll get it.
And all you really need is heat. So you can do this with any sauna that generates heat. However, the Sunlight, they sent us their sauna, and theirs is just
the Cadillac.
It's the I mean, if you want to have a nice sauna in your house that maximizes the benefits and minimizes EMF and all
There's
that
definitely
stuff.
cheaper ones out there, but that one is like
It's just gorgeous.
Yeah,
there's no comparison at all.
There isn't.
Next question is from Jenny Rutan. What was the best $100 you ever spent on something health or fitness related?
So I used to actually do this thing where
Testosterone propionate. That shit worked.
I used to do that. I actually have 3 for you because it's my. I think they're 3 of the. They're all under $100, and 3 of the 3 things or 3 tools that have made a significant difference in my personal fitness journey and then my coaching. And here are the 3. So. The first time I invested in getting a hydrostatic whey or the dunk, right? So getting my body fat tested with a tool like that. It was, I think it's $60 or something like that they charge for these things. And then what I loved about it is that it's kept inside the database. So every time I come back, I can look back at all my stats and numbers. And it's being a guy who's loves to track all this stuff and pay attention to as I add things into my routine or my diet and take it out and then to go back and measure that. Nothing has given me better feedback that I can go, okay, because it's very easy to be deceived by, what you think is working or not working unless you go and you can measure it against something, and something that accurate for that low of a cost for me has been one of the best investments I've ever spent $100 on. And so that's one of them. Another one is a Fitbit, or I used to say Body Bug back then, but a tool that actually tracks my movement and my steps and my calories that I burn in the day. Now, somebody listening to that right now that will poo-poo on the accuracy
I love when you say poo-poo.
of those tools. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter if it is extremely accurate to your...
They're just consistent.
Exactly. Yeah. They're very consistent. And the consistency of a tool like that paired with me measuring my body...
It gives you a baseline.
It gives me a baseline. It gives me something to draw from. It gives me feedback daily so I know if I'm on track, off track, whatever. That has been huge. And then the third one is, your... what's the name of the brand? I don't even know the name of the brand I'm going to plug, but any of these high-powered ninja-type blenders.
Oh, yeah, the bullets?
Yeah,
or,
the big ones. Like your,
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Vitamix.
Thank you. A Vitamix is what I own. So the Vitamix or the Ninja, any of those blenders are, if you think of something that I've used the most that has helped me stay on track with blending my shakes and smoothies and things like that, like that has been probably one of the best, $100 or so. I think back then, though, that thing was like $400, but you can get them now for...
Dude, you just reminded me to bring mine out. I haven't used mine in a while, and I used to make these,
use the fuck out of
coconut milk, but the thick one, like the coconut milk in the can.
Yeah.
And they sell the half cans at the store. You could buy the half can organic, and I'll put one of those in there, and then I'll throw in like some spinach, maybe a little protein powder, and it's like the super high fat, high MCTs in their drink, and I use it as a weight gainer. Sometimes throw some egg yolks in
Katrina
it.
and I use our blender a minimum of 1 to 2 times every single day. That's how much we use the shit.
Oh,
out.
wow.
And what I love about those ones is they those badass high powered ones.
Dude, why don't we get sponsored by them?
We'll look into one.
That would be cool.
They wash themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like you literally put 2 drops of soap in, throw it halfway hot water, you turn that sucker on, and it whips it.
Wait a minute. I've never washed it like that.
Oh, bro, those things are they're designed.
You just blend it, to wash itself.
Am I the only one that doesn't know this?
that?
No, I wash it by hand.
You fill it up halfway with hot water, real hot water, 2 drops of soap. You turn it on full speed, and it'll clean itself, man.
You just dump it out
and
and
wash it out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh my God,
Bro,
mine
you've
has
been doing
been
it wrong.
blown. Damn it, you're doing it wrong.
You know what? This just goes to show that you don't read the instructions when you buy these things because they'll tell you inside the.
Do they really?
Those little cleaning hacks, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those
You know
make
what
a
it
big
feels?
difference.
You know what a terrible feeling it is to be the last person to figure something out. You know what I mean?
I know. I hate being that guy. It's usually me, so I'm glad it's you.
Damn it. So for me, the best 100 in my whole life that I've ever spent. Well, here's a cheap thing that costs you $10. A food scale. Food
Oh, there you
scale
go.
is
There you
one
go.
of the best investments
That's
I ever made.
a must actually.
It's a must, and I don't use it anymore because I know what 3 and 6 and 12 ounces of a particular food look like. But when I first got it, I had no idea. And this is when I first became a personal trainer, and so I'd say, I'd be like, okay, I need to eat 8 ounces of chicken breast, and I'd put the chicken breast on there, and I'd be like, wow, this is a fucking 16-ounce chicken breast. I had no idea that chicken breast weighed that much or that big. I had no idea what the weight was to the size or how it looked.
Oh, I do. I remember the first time that I weighed a sweet potato. And I used to just chalk up sweet potato. I wouldn't even count the calories because I'm like, oh, it's healthy, it's low glycemic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you get a sweet potato like this, it's like it can still be like 600 calories.
Yeah, absolutely. So a food scale I recommend that to everybody just so you can get an idea of how big, how food looks versus how much it weighs versus what the calories and macros are in it. Very, very important thing.
Great call.
And that was a life changer for me. The other one, and this is just when I was a kid, the very first muscle building exercise manual that I ever got is still what I consider to be one of the most valuable, and that was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia to Bodybuilding. Till this day, it is one of the best catalogs of free weight, mostly free weight, but there's a lot of old school machines in there and cables, exercises per body part. So if you are relatively new into fitness and you want to learn different exercises and you want to, let's say you have a MAPS program and you want to modify it, because we always recommend that people go through the MAPS program as we've written it out, but then afterwards modify it as you see fit because you know your body better than we ever will. This encyclopedia, and it's a fat ass book, and they've revised it since, but mine's the old school one, the original one with Franco Columbo in there and Robbie Robinson and Tom Platz and Arnold, and so it's got tape on it. It's fucking, I love it, right? But you open that thing up and it goes by body part. There's a whole section in there where you can go through chest, back, shoulders, biceps, and it catalogs and lists all the free weight exercises and some cable and machine exercises that are in there, and kind of shows you generally what good form looks like and how you should be doing them. And I use that thing forever, and I still have it now, and I have it, and one day I hope to pass it on to my son. And that thing was pretty inexpensive. I can't think of anything else I've spent $100 on.
$100 is tough because it gets expensive really quick, because it's a niche sort of a thing. I was trying to think of specific products I bought, and they're usually like $200 to $250. But I know a gym membership for me was a big deal because, finding that gym where it was around, like a higher price point per month. So I was paying like $100 per month. But it was one that had a basketball court. It was one that had like a really awesome free weight section. I had like a little kids club there where I could drop the kids off, and like I had all those factors in place to where I was like, oh my God, this is going to be successful in terms of like me consistently going. And so that was like super important to me. And then the other one was like just getting the proper shoes. Like for me, getting these like minimalist shoes that were around $100, really for me, like there's something about it too. And I know like, I think Adam's talked about it before, just buying clothes that like motivate you to like go to the gym and like, it's almost like your uniform, like these shoes were something that made me look forward to like using them. I was like, either I'm going to do some crazy cardio in them or I'm like, going to use them for deadlifts or something, and so, just like stupid things like that. And then because like the TRX is like $250 or something, but I bought.
What about a mace? What does one mace bell cost you?
A mace bell's, it's up there with it. If you're getting like in the 25-pound range, I think it's like over like 150.
Oh, it is.
Something.
I was going to say you use that tool a lot.
But I use that one
at
a lot.
home and everything.
Kettlebells though, that if you buy just one kettlebell, that you can do a lot with that. Yeah, so I would recommend that.
You know
for
what's one
$100.
that I didn't even think about? A good set of resistance bands. This wasn't something that I used a lot of when I was younger, mainly because nobody talked about using resistance bands either in addition to weight training, where you add it to your weights to give you variable resistance, or on the days in between you lift weights like trigger sessions, like the way we highlight in MAPS Anabolic. But resistance bands, you can get a super high quality. Rubber Bandits is a brand that we like to work with. It's the best quality bands I've seen.
Yeah.
Actually, we have them on our website. Maybe we can put it in our show notes.
And you get one of those little travel packs that you get like this bag with it. You get handles with it. You get a few options.
If you travel, if you work out at home, or if you lift weights in the gym and you want to do trigger sessions, resistance bands, phenomenal investment. But I have to say, Justin, you picked the best one, because I can't think of any investment that's $100 or less that's, if you use it, will give you more benefits than going to the gym.
Yeah.
And gyms these days are fucking cheap. Mm-hmm. They're not expensive. It's weird to me that people balk at paying $30 a month for gym access, but they'll spend $150 a month on their cell phone.
Right.
It's insane to me, you know? And if you use it, is there anything else that'll give you more benefit across the board? Nothing.
No. I think that. I mean, shit. If you got all of ours, you could spend it for under $500, and you're set right there.
That's right.
No,
that's right.
Your scale one was money too, because that didn't cross my mind, and that is something I make. That's like a staple thing that if someone would hire me, it'd be like,
get a scale.
You have to go out and get a scale. Like we have to at least weigh for the first month, so you can just see. Because I mean, anyone that has been a trainer for long enough knows that I think the statistic is something like 80 or 90% of the population underreport their calories. It's just simply not knowing.
It's
just
being aware now.
Right. Yeah. If you tell someone, hey, can you show me how much 6 ounces of chicken breast is? I guarantee you they'll put out
way off.
10 ounces.
Yeah, and you start to realize too, like when you go somewhere, like let's say a Chipotle, which is a staple place that people will go eat a quote unquote healthy meal, and the measurements that they give you the calories for is based off of this quarter cup scoop. When you see the guy do the spoonful, you realize like, oh shit, that's more like a half a cup or 3/4 of a cup. And then he does it with the rice, the same thing. And then you're like, before you know it, you just added 350 calories that you didn't add in because you just went off a base of a piece of paper flyer that. So you got to know these things, I think.
Shameless plug. You know what else is under $100 that'll fucking give you a shit ton of results? Maps Anywhere all month long.
Yeah.
It's a half.
Kaboom! Threw that one in
off.
there. Yeah.
Next question is from the Village Crazy Lady. Who is your hall pass and why?
Fucking Justin, bro.
What is a hall pass, by the way?
You fucking put this question. You know why you put this question?
I want to sabotage
You're
you
the
guys.
only one that doesn't. Your girl don't listen to the podcast, you asshole.
I know. This is great.
What does that mean?
Hall pass means you get a fucking free pass to go fuck who you
You
want.
can go bang somebody.
Oh, do you actually have one? Did your wife tell you have one?
No, but I mean, like, she's okay with me, like, thinking about that. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Sure, she's
What I'm
not.
saying
Because
is,
she doesn't
like,
listen to the podcast.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's
I'm
a
gonna send
few
this
like
to her.
celebrity types. It's kind of the game you play with your partner. Right? It's like I know like Thor and fucking Chris Pine or whoever the fuck out there. Like I'm like, yeah, I get it. They're handsome.
Yeah, but is that
given an elevator and sit, whatever.
Yeah, but is that a hall pass? If your let's say your wife went to Vegas with her friends,
that's a done deal. That's a deal killer for me. But yeah, no, yeah. So for me, I was trying to think of like was it Jessica? Not Alba.
Rabbit?
Well, Jessica Alba would be one too, but the other one, the Jessica.
I'm so bad.
Beal, thank you.
I'm so
Jessica
bad
Biel.
with famous people and their names.
That's
dude.
my
And
hall pass.
you know what would be better? If we name the hall passes for our girls, because in reality they're not here. We can't ask them who
That is a much better.
You're such a pussy, dude. Come on.
Oh wait a minute!
You
I'm a
can't do
pussy.
that, yeah.
I'm saying literally, we say who our girls could sleep with. That we would be our hall pass.
I thought-
that's better. I think. Don't you guys think?
No, I feel like you're rerouting this question because you don't want to get in trouble.
Well,
again.
you know what I'm going to have trouble with is I don't fucking know famous people, dude. I just don't pay attention to the names of the celebrities and who's in them. Like,
What about Instagram girls?
Well, now you're really trying to get me in trouble.
Yeah, what are you doing,
Yes,
dude?
fucking,
Good job, Justin.
I'm making it hot in here.
Trying to get him killed.
Yeah.
You know what though? How about this?
I mean, my girl knows I troll and fucking booty like pics all day long, so she knows. Yeah, but I don't think I get a hall pass.
No hall pass
So
there.
I don't think I get a hall pass.
That's
for
close
it.
to home, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about this? Is there imagine you were single right now, okay?
Yeah.
This may be a stupid question, but we'll try anyway. What celebrity, if you met them and they want to sleep with you, would you be okay with? See, that's a dumb question because it'd be all of them. I don't think there's anyone.
Like, no.
You'd be like, you're not that attractive, but you're famous.
Yeah,
You know, here's the thing too, and we had this. I was talking to Paul Check yesterday when we hung out after the podcast.
Love that guy so much, by the way.
And we were talking about sports, and I thought it was really fascinating that a guy that worked for the Chicago Bulls and been in hockey and rugby, and I mean the dude is an athlete, boxed all the professional. I mean the guy's done so much in professional sports. I find it fascinating that he doesn't listen or he doesn't watch professional sports at all.
He's my people, dude.
Well, and one of the
Us
things
weirdos don't watch sports.
One of the things, well, no, he has different reasons. His align more with mine, which is when you've been around it enough and you get to meet a lot of these quote unquote famous people.
Yeah.
You become less and less impressed. Like, and I'm hands down, I'm always
idolize them
if you're
anymore.
an actor, an actress, if you're an athlete, I'm always impressed with what you do. Like, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
But you lose this what some people have with famous people where they get so in awe of them, because what I see is I can't help but see all the other imbalances that they have in their life and the flaws as humans that they are. And so I'm in less awe of them. And so when I look at female celebrities that I think are beautiful, and I think right away almost every girl that I ever dated that was in the, either model or quote aspiring models that had a lot of attention because of the way they looked, are some of the most fucked up chicks that I was ever with. So I can't help but think that when I see these super famous people that we idolize, that and maybe that's just
a celebrity would probably annoy me.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm not like. And
well,
people,
think about it. If you live in that bubble all the time, where everybody tells you how great you are, how beautiful you are, how funny you are, all the time, you develop this bloated sense of self and ego that you're probably an annoying piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? You imagine hanging around with someone like this?
It's more common than the other way. And I'm not saying that I haven't met professional athletes or actors who I haven't gone like, oh, okay, they're cool, they're really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more rare that and most of them are the ones that are like, like when I think of athletes, it's the ones that aren't the superstar athlete. It's the one that like grinded his whole life.
Like Rudy.
You're right. Got into this. Got it. He's a bench player. He rarely gets to play that often, but he's cool as fuck because he's so appreciative to be in the professional level.
Sure.
So that even though he doesn't have the same type of fame but most of the ones that have all the fame, they're pretentious as fuck. Yeah. So
let me ask you this: is there a guy that you think that Katrina thinks is hot or whatever? That's a celebrity. Is there that guy, that one celebrity that she's like, oh, I like him?
Not really. She does a really good job of lying to me. Wow. She does a really good job of telling me that I'm.
She's like, no, baby,
you're the center of my universe.
Yeah, like making me feel that way, right?
Oh man, Katrina, you got to tell him the truth.
Katrina,
I know.
Be honest.
I feel the same way too. I said, stop bullshitting me. I said, your mom trained you so well.
Yeah.
But
so there's no male celebrity that
she's like me, where she's not. This is a thing that we kind of connect on. She's also been around a lot of professional athletes and famous people and stuff like that. So. And she's gone out and dated dudes like that, and so
does she have a type though? Is there like a type of guy that she finds that's attractive that you would think if you saw a celebrity that looked like that, you'd be like, oh, she probably thinks he's hot?
No, because when I go back and I look at her, I'll tease. What I tease her about is the stripper thing. She's, she dated strippers, right? So that's she's gonna hate
little magic Mike action.
Yeah. In fact, she dated a guy that whole thing was based off of, right?
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Dang, bro, does that put pressure on you to learn how to dance? Because you're not a good dancer.
Yeah, you're not. You got to work on that.
Yeah, not on a stage. I'm not a good dancer, but where it matters, I dance just fine. So,
the no pants dance.
Yeah, that's right. The no pants dance is what I'm good at. No, so she doesn't have. And when I look back at her track record of guys that she's dated, I don't think I don't look like any of the other ones. Like we're all fucking really different. Which is like me too. If you look back at my track record, I don't have a type. I've dated like. Every color, race, creed, like tall, skinny, fat, big boob, small boob, big butt, low butt, no butt, like everything, every color hair, every color.
You got to find, you have
tried
to
all the flavors.
It's got to be a connection.
Yeah.
I'm like that.
And she's like that too. And so I don't look at a celebrity and go, oh, I bet she's just, and we never watch a movie and she's not like, oh my God, and both of us are secure enough where we would say that like, oh, he's so hot or she's so hot.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind because of our experiences, I think, around people like that, we've been around it so much that we go like, I think it's more common you'd hear one of us sitting down and see that like, oh, I bet he fucking thinks he's, just that, you know what I'm saying? Or we know somebody who knows him, like he's so pretentious.
Really?
It's like, yeah, it's more like that. So no, I can't. That's why this was a hard question for me, because I don't think I've ever been sitting there watching a movie and told Katrina like she's just so beautiful. What I'm more likely to do when we meet somebody or we see a real person that's just fucking normal, I'll tell Katrina like, oh, she's hot, or she's pretty, or
in real life.
Yeah,
I see. That's hard. I feel like that's too. I feel like that's more difficult. Like in real life, hey, that person we were just talking to? Yeah, she's pretty hot. I feel like that'd be more like, excuse me.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
See, that's the first, like, so yeah, like if there's a guy or there's a girl that's like really attractive, like you gotta like, we mention it. It's like we talk about it right away, so it's like it clears the air. It's like totally fine. It's like I recognize like good looking people. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, my girl likes, and she's made a few. I can just tell that she likes the dude that played Aquaman in what's that guy's name? Now
he was also in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. What the fuck's his name? Jason Momoa?
Jason, yeah.
Something. Momoa or something like that. Now, to her credit, he's a fucking, come on, the dude's a fucking stud.
He's a beast.
With a beard, and he's all jacked and everything, and a lot of women like him. She likes him, and then, who's the other guy? There was the dude, he was in Magic Mike. He's the guy, he's married to...
The older guy?
The older dude.
Yeah, Courtney too.
What's his name? God, I don't even know their names. This is terrible.
That guy, I think he got the most attention out of that movie.
Yeah, what's his name? We got to figure out his name real quick, because this sucks that I don't know his name. He's like the Italian dude, right?
The salty salt and pepper guy.
Yeah, which makes me feel better.
Yeah, right.
Because I got a little of that going on.
We're aging.
Let's look at the cast here. I'm gonna look.
My sister just.
Joe Manganiello.
Yeah. My sister just messaged me because she's listening to the podcast, and who was it that was talked about the spoon theory? Oh, was that Bennett?
Yep.
That talked about. So my sister said, just to get the facts straight, the spoon theory was created by a chick with endometriosis.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, very cool.
Well, I'll get her to send me something.
Little random Adam knowledge.
Yeah.
Snapple cap, it's coming out.
It's not mine. I'm just passing it along.
Excellent. Right. So with that, I did mention Maps Anywhere, 50% off. Make sure you go to mapswhite.com. Use the code white50 at checkout. Also, we all have Instagram accounts. All of them provide different value. You can find my page, Mind Pump Sal. Adam is at Mind Pump Adam. Justin is at Mind Pump Justin. And finally, if you go to mindpumpfree.com, you can download any of our free guides. They're all very informative, and they're all absolutely free. Again, mindpumpfree.com.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.